Hello.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Superhero News Network. I'm Johnny Parker. This is
Tatiana. And this is Joe.
Yeah, Joe, what happened to you? You're only a head
He got
now.
speed and then lost the rest of his body. So
These are things that happen when you're a hero in the DC universe. Heroes in crisis.
yes,
You see what
exactly.
happens,
This is
pretty
the
much.
living embodiment.
So, Tati, how's your week been going?
It's been going great, you know? Yeah, just been working and doing videos and reading comics, as one does. How about yourself?
Terrible.
Terrible?
So
What
terrible.
happened?
So here's the thing. My week was going fine. Everything was cool. But then, again, with the Superhero News Network, so this is perfect place to talk about it. Dude, the Daredevil canceled.
Oh, that's what killed you.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
We just heard about that
Yeah.
before we got here.
No, it's like literally just broke a couple hours ago that Netflix is literally going through and canceling Daredevil. And see, when they canceled Luke Cage and they canceled Iron
The
Fist.
other one, yes,
Yeah,
Iron
I was
Fist.
that horrible one that was kind of offensive.
I mean, okay, that's the thing. So first when Iron Fist was canceled, it was like, okay, well, it was sucked, so that's why
Exactly,
it canceled.
it was terrible.
And then Luke Cage was canceled, and you're like, okay, something's going on. Obviously,
Exactly.
right?
So when Luke Cage got canceled, I was still like, you know what? First season, first half, amazing. Second half, it was shaky. This current season 2, I was like, not the best follow-up. I'll be honest with you. I still love it, but just did not knock it out of the park.
So you could maybe believe that people weren't watching it as much or whatever.
Exactly.
So there was a reason.
But with Daredevil season 3, I was like, we had Bullseye, we got the Kingpin back, we had this great story.
And everyone was talking about it as well. Clearly, everyone was watching.
Exactly, it was amazing. Honestly, it was again, it proved again why it's one of the best Netflix shows.
Yeah.
So with Daredevil being canceled, seems like it's up to me. What do you think?
Okay, so I feel like it's one or the other thing, and you guys can tell us in the chat what you think. So I feel like either Marvel is pissed that Disney's getting their own streaming service, right? And taking all their toys away. So Marvel's killing their darlings, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason
Netflix killing their darlings.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Netflix killing their darlings. And so the only reason why Jessica Jones and Punisher aren't is because those seasons are already in the can, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So they're going to have one more season and then be done. But on the other hand, maybe it's Disney / Marvel, Disney Marvel, who doesn't want to be on Netflix anymore. They don't want to pay Netflix for it, or they don't want to,
want to keep doing that deal and everything like that. No, I agree with you, because all this tells me is, again, it's all about the streaming service. Because I agree with you, it's either Netflix saying, well, you know what, why are we going to promote the competition?
Right.
Screw it, let's just shut this down now. And only that though, but think about, if you're going to announce this show being canceled, you'd probably wait at least till maybe January. Let the streaming keep coming in, especially after the holiday break with Christmas. But now people are like, wait, what? It got canceled? It even motivates people maybe not to watch it as much.
Right.
And so so I can agree, see it that way. And then also see from Disney's standpoint, it was like, well, you know what, this show's going to do well, let's just cut it now, because when we do our streaming service, boom, everyone's going to come there.
Yeah, exactly. And also, in the article that I read, the statement from Netflix said, oh, but you'll still see Daredevil in Marvel's other projects.
Yeah.
So I was like, so does that mean that Marvel / Disney can use Daredevil? It's not as long as it's not tied to the Netflix show?
Maybe.
They can still use the character, just not that same show, maybe?
Maybe. See, what that told me was, I was like, okay, so you'll show up in Jessica Jones, maybe. You'll probably show up in, Punisher. Because
right.
You can't just have Punisher running around by himself for 13 episodes.
That's true.
So,
At the very least, I assume Karen will be in that season, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So Karen said that, close relationship with Frank and everything. But it's just disappointing, though, because, I remember, a few years ago when we started this Marvel, Netflix partnership, and all the potential came from it. All the excitement we had after season 1 of Daredevil. Yeah. And then we had season 1 of Jessica Jones. We're like, oh my gosh, Marvel's killing it in the movies and television. Now it's just, it's sad.
Marvel TV is not doing so hot.
No, not so much. Not so much.
Yes, someone's car alarm did go off.
Oh, is that what they're saying?
Probably that was an intense panic in reaction to what has happened to Daredevil and the rest of Marvel Netflix.
Or his producer Josh, who was, as you know, homeless, probably searching for food somewhere. Probably breaking the cars looking for strand nuggets and things like that.
Yes.
Okay,
it happens.
But talking about television shows and everything, let's go to the DC universe.
Okay.
So we got an Elseworlds trailer.
Yes, we did.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, so my thoughts are that basically Iris is only in the Flash episode, so that's the only episode I care about.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
No, but
the shade.
But no, I think it's gonna be fun. The whole Freaky Friday situation for Barry and Oliver is gonna be fun, especially because you can see Oliver here has this whole now that he's Barry, he's got this fine ass wife. All his friends in the lab who just think that he's the greatest, right? Everyone in Central City loves the Flash. So really, Barry's got it made.
Pretty much.
So Oliver's gonna be like, wait a second, my life could be like this?
Exactly.
And then
maybe if I stop pretending to be Batman, maybe my life can be like Green Arrow's supposed to be. Where I'm going on adventures and I'm a swashbuckler and all these different things. Maybe if I stop trying to be the Dark Knight.
Yes, exactly. And then on the other hand, you've got Barry waking up as Oliver, right? And all he gets, at least from the trailer, Oliver, all he gets is like his ass beat by Diggle, and then he's just like all alone all the time, and everyone hates him.
Which is crazy. It's like, it cracks me up how Green Arrow's like, I'm all alone. You have a team.
Right, you have a team around you. You have a child that got sent away for no reason. So
it's like when Batman did it, he had an old man and a computer. That's all he had. Right. He was legit alone. Like, seriously, Oliver, stop being so grumpy. You have a support system.
So I do think it's going to be a little bit of like how the other half lives, grass is greener situation, right?
I gotta be honest though, like, watching this trailer, some things got me excited, some things not so much.
Okay,
like,
tell me what's exciting you.
Okay,
let's start with the happiness.
Okay, so one, the Superman in the black costume was like, ooh, I'm loving that. It gives me like a little Kingdom Come vibes, all this kind of things like that. See a badass Superman, okay, I'm on board for this. And then after that, that's about it.
That's it. That's the only thing you care about.
No, because here's the thing. When they said Elseworlds, again, and you know this being a fan of comics yourself, Elseworld stories are some of the best stories you can tell, like Superman, Red Sun. There's all these cool possibilities you can do. So I was like, oh, are we about to go to the multiverse a little bit? Are we about to see some like permanent things?
You were expecting to go to other Earths.
Exactly. And be like, actually see some things that are real and maybe have to work some things out. But in this situation, it's like, no. It's like you said, a Freaky Friday type situation. And not the good Freaky Friday like Chris Brown and Little Dicky. This is just regular like Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah. And remember, guys, that if you have thoughts that you'd like to share with us about the crossover, feel free to use the super chat option so that my eyeballs can see it, because they're really bad. I'm not wearing my glasses.
Yeah. And like they said, comments go by so fast, so that helps us out a lot.
Yes. But no, in terms of the Elseworld situation, I'm totally with you that I was hoping to go to other Earths and see, like, when we saw the, like, biker gang situation, I thought that was going to be like, oh, that's like Earth 23. You know? But instead, it seems like it's our Earth that's shifting. Yeah. And there's some cool aspects, like we're going to get to see Alex be an asshole. You know, like, and obviously, we are going to get a visitor from another Earth, which is cool. John Wesley Shipp.
Exactly.
His version of The Flash. I love that.
From the original, like, 90s show, which is going to be so sick. So that's another thing I'm excited about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Bad to see Night. Do you think The Flash's 100th episode plays into this? I love this question because I'm very excited for the Flash 100th episode, but I don't think that it will outside of like probably like a teaser at the end, you know? I think that's exactly why Todd Helbing wanted to have the Flash's 100th episode separate from the crossover, because Guggenheim's the one in charge of the crossovers, and I don't know if you guys remember, in all previous seasons, Barry basically gets eaten alive by Oliver. Even his wedding got eaten alive by Oliver's. So I'm sure that this time the Flash was like, we're going to handle our stuff totally separately. And then y'all can do whatever you want.
Exactly, because it is weird like that. Because a lot of times when they do those like crossovers and everything like that, Arrow, because again, he is the old man.
Right,
again,
he's the first one,
Exactly, so he does get like things lean towards him.
Right.
But Barry, honestly, again, no disrespect to anybody who's a big fan of Arrow, respect to him, but Flash is a better show in my opinion. It's like the heart of what DC Comics is.
Right.
That positivity and storytelling. And this version of Green Arrow we're getting is dope. But as I've always said, Ra's al Ghul is not a Green Arrow villain. Talia is not part of like the Green Arrow like narrative and everything like that. So I've always been hesitant. But while we were talking, we got another super chat.
Yeah, Andros. Oh, my favorite warrior high alpha. Because I know so many. Okay, so Andros said, since Jessica Jones and Punisher are the last two characters, Season 3 and Season 2 is coming so soon. Yeah. I mean, they're already done filming both of those, right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jessica Jones is coming in January. I don't know when Punisher is coming.
You know what? I might even be surprised if Jessica Jones dropped again like during that Christmas time. Because that's when they dropped Punisher last year.
So they might speed it up.
Exactly, because they know people are off, so people can just stream it. They actually get like better ratings and everything. So definitely, like, Jessica Jones is coming.
I know, and that means it's going to be over so soon, too. Like, that's the sad thing, right?
It is, but you know what, though? I'm wondering how this will affect the season. So, again, going back to the conversation we had earlier, for people coming in late, they canceled Daredevil, we just found out today, like a couple hours ago. And so, if they're going into this with Jessica Jones Season 3, and they know this is the final season, it gives them a chance to kind of go out like on a high note and go on their own terms. It's one of those situations kind of like, for people who are Power Rangers fans, like if there's a Power Rangers in space, the writers of that season thought it was the last season.
Power Rangers in space!
There it is.
Okay. Yes.
Nice, well done, well done.
Thank you.
So the thing about this is, so when they knew that was their last season, they were just like, balls to the wall, we're going to do everything we can, and they're going to be one of the best seasons of all time. So with Jessica Jones, hopefully if they think it's the last season, they can step this up.
All right, well, speaking of TV shows that are still alive, in the DC universe, Toku Kid wants to ask,
super chat! Thank you, Toku!
He wants to ask, maybe we'll get Crisis on Infinite CW shows. And
Actually,
yes,
no.
So you're going to. Because, like, the Monitor, that's what I'm upset about.
We were talking about this earlier. Actually, that was one of the things that got me a little bit hopeful, because when I saw the Monitor there, I was like, ooh, there's the Monitor. And they're being kind of low-key with them. And so for people who know what Crisis on Infinite Earths is, Crisis on Infinite Earths were when pretty much DC Universe kind of reset itself in the comics, and they pretty much destroyed their multiverse.
Right.
So they got rid of, like, the original, like, 50 Superman. They established a new modern version, all the modern mythos and everything. And so, but before that happened, though, for about 5 years, the Monitor was just hanging around in the background of comics. They had a plan the whole time, but nobody knew who this character was or what his grand goal was. So the fact he's showing up here kind of reminds me of the same thing.
And the fact that he seems to be behind Jeremy Davies, who, by the way, when I tried to remember Jeremy Davies' name earlier today, I typed that dude from Lost, and it did not help me at all. The search was not successful. But anyway, so he is the one that created the magic or the science that's warped the world, but we know that the Monitor is the one that gave him the power to do it.
And you know, again, just speculating right now, but you know what that tells me maybe the Monitor is doing? This is a test.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
High five. Yes. He is testing to see which heroes can, like, make it out, or which heroes can figure it out, who is worthy of mushing the Earths together.
Exactly. Not only that, though, but it's kind of like he knows what's about to happen. Like, he knows the Anti-Monitor is coming. So he's like, you guys have to get used to, like, these different scenarios going across dimensions. And not only that, though, but it's like, it's kind of smart as well, because, again, if the Anti-Monitor is coming, you're interacting, like, or you're being thrown across, like, dimensions, you're getting new powers, you have to be thinking on your feet.
Right.
And right now, if, like, the Anti-Monitor showed up right now, they would all be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And the love of my life, again, Patterson Knight said, by the way, I was not a fan of Cicada's backstory. And I will say, as, like, the This Is Us fan in me, liked Cicada's backstory, because it was very much like, this child came into my life, and then I learned to love her, and then now I've lost her. Okay, I was totally into that. But in terms of a villain, he's just kind of like, he's not really there. He's not doing anything right now. I need him to step up his game.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with you on that side of things.
And thank you for the super chat back, Tuesday.
Yes. Any other thoughts on CW?
So, again, while I am not excited about that what the actual episode is going to be, I expected also it would be more. I love what it's setting up for the future of like the CW, like Arrowverse and everything. So I'm loving where this is going right now. And then, again, just doing a little bit more speculation. Remind me, in the flashes, the newspaper that shows like the crisis and everything
2024.
like that. 2024.
Yes.
So the cool thing about time travel is things can get moved up.
Right.
So they can do this as soon as 2020.
Yes.
2019. And so as they're gearing up for these future seasons, they have a lot of things to play
funny
with.
thing, though, is that Grant keeps saying, like, oh, yeah, if we get to 10 seasons, then we're going to do it. And I was like, 10 seasons? Are you really in it for 10 seasons, Grant? So I do think
That's the thing, though. Grant's not doing anything else outside of this, though.
Well, that's okay. Every year, Grant gets cast in something, and then the schedule gets moved, and then he can't do it anymore because of Flash.
Exactly.
So that's why I would think he'd want to get out so he can do stuff. But whatever. It's a steady paycheck.
But see, that's the danger of it, though, because I've been going back and rewatching an old show, Friends.
Oh,
and so as I've been rewatching that, it's like I was like, man, you had a lot of talented people here, but nobody made it off. It's hard to transition.
Exactly.
Did she though?
Come on.
Did she though?
Or at least her life. Her life made it out.
Yeah, exactly. Because she low-key married Brad Pitt. So, but it's really hard to make that transition from like television to like mainstream movies and everything.
Right.
All right, but going into like, do we want to talk about the rumor, the sighting at the wine?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Want to bring it?
Okay, so Stephen Amell, he did post. Speaking of Smallville in 10 seasons, he posted this photo at Knocking Point Wines, his little office, his little wine office, with, as you can see, Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum.
Ooh.
And he even said, I'm excited about this one or something similar. So, what do we guys think that is about? And before you guys tell me that, I'm going to read Andros having more thoughts, because Andros is amazing.
Super chat! Thank you, Andros.
Yes, we need a little super chat theme, and that should be it. Will Titans meet CW characters? Thoughts?
Maybe. Season 1 of Titans is going really strong on the streaming service right now. Everyone's loving it. I'm getting into it. Beast Boy, who I was kind of worried about at the beginning.
He's coming into his own. So great.
So much so. Where I'm just like, yes.
It has to be like a special on the DC Universe thing, like a little like mini episode or something.
But if they did it, they could totally get away with it, because here's the thing: like people were wondering would they cross over with Supergirl when she was on CBS, and they managed to pull it off. So if Arrowverse keeps going strong, this could definitely be like a potential crossover, because with Crisis coming up and them going to the multiverse now, they can do this without having to establish
just say it's a different Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, I wish they were on the same Earth. I mean, now that we've got Superman there, it would be dope to establish all these things on the same Earth.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what Crisis would be for, right?
Exactly.
I think that what they need to do is separate Crisis from the 2024 newspaper, right? Make Crisis happen first, and then Barry's Disappearance can be a different story. But anyway, back to a totally different universe, Smallville. I don't know. There are people that are like hoping that it's an actual like team up, like a crossover, or like you were saying, he does independent movies.
Yeah.
So maybe there's like an actual project they're working on. I personally think that they're going to team up for like a Smallville themed wine.
Yeah.
Because he teamed up with Jason Momoa for an Aquaman themed wine or Red Drunk or I don't know wines. But they did one before, so I'm sure that that's going to be similar.
I agree. Like it would be great if they did do something and everything like that. That'd be super awesome.
At the very least for the fans. Just
Exactly.
do like a little mini webisode.
Exactly. Or just an Instagram story.
Yeah,
like, have some fun. Like, I need your help, Soups. Oh no, it's Lex.
Oh my God,
He's drunk on wine.
Yes. I love that. Oh my God, that'd be great. They should do like a wine commercial as their characters.
That would be hilarious. That'd be
That's
hilarious.
Fun. All right.
I might have to buy a bottle now.
Exactly. I would pay for it if you guys did that. Anyway.
So awesome. So moving on. So we have some other breaking news in the DC universe. RJ Cyler is apparently cast on Black Lightning.
That's right.
Now we don't know who he's playing.
Right. His character is called Todd Green, but we don't know who Todd Green is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the thing about this is there's a lot of speculation as to who this character might be. Some people are debating like, is it Static Shock from the Milestone universe or whatnot? Could it be potentially Hardware? So there's a lot of rumors and things thrown out about there. But before we do that though, we got another super chat.
Oh, tell us.
Toku Kid said, maybe we can get a new Wally West with a silver suit.
Oh, you mean like the future Wally West when he comes back in the silver suit from the storyline that I just like to call like Evil Flash storyline? I don't remember what it's called. Out of Time.
That could be potential.
Yeah, like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because right now they're not really doing anything with Wally, so it'd be
Right.
interesting to bring him back. And not only that, if they do Crisis on Infinite Earths, we could get like old school Ginger Wally and everything like that.
True.
Like Mark Waid Wally as well. So
Yeah.
that could be a potential.
True.
So yeah.
Or just even if you were making him come from the future, another actor could take over for Keenan since he's living his best life elsewhere.
He really is.
So-
he really is. He's just off doing his own thing.
Yeah.
He was like, I was Flash, I was Kid Flash, I'm off doing this stuff now.
Right. He's got better stuff to do now. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be cool.
So going to RJ Cyler and everything like that. So just speculating, talking about it. Who do you think he might be on Black Lightning?
Okay, so the description that we got for Todd Green, who is RJ's character, is that he is a gangly and awkward tech genius who is passed over for a research grant and doesn't take it well until he gets an offer to join Tobias Whale. So he definitely sounds like a villain in the making. He sounds like kind of Khalil 2.0, but with a different skill set, obviously, which makes me a little concerned about Khalil's life. But for those of you, I don't know if you're caught up on Black Lightning or not, but he just ran off with Jennifer to escape Khalil. To escape Tobias Whale. So maybe he just needs to replace him, right? He's like, I need a new Khalil. This guy.
Boom, there it is.
Yeah. So you mentioned Static Shock in Hardware. I think just based on tech genius and also kind of a villain, Hardware is the only one that
kind of fits.
Yeah, because Hardware, it's like he's not a villain, but he works for a villain, and then he realizes how villainous that dude is,
and
is like,
against
I'm going to take you out. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is also still Khalil's storyline, but
pretty much.
That's okay.
Pretty much, but a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
That would be better. Seriously, I don't want to be Static Shock because, again, I'm a huge fan of Static, and I believe he's an amazing character. And honestly, me personally, I think Static can stand on his own because, again, he had that amazing animated series. His comic run was one of the best in Milestone and won awards and whatnot. I think Static, when set up with the right creative team, stands on his own.
Right. He should be his own show.
Exactly. He has his own fan base and whatnot. So, if anything, I feel like if they were doing anything with Static, I don't want him to show up on Titans for a second. And they're like, man, this guy is so cool. It's almost shocking. And they give him a spinoff.
Yes.
So that was what I would want to see for him. He get his own spinoff and go off and do his own thing.
Right.
Him being on that show, no, not at all. Hardware, on the other hand, though, would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
The Milestone universe, for people who don't know about it, was this cool company just put together by Dwayne McDuffie and all these other diverse groups of creators because they want to bring diversity to comics. And so what's dope is they created like all these different heroes from Static Shock to Hardware to the Blood Syndicate to Icon. And so the thing about this was that if those characters started coming over to like mainstream television, it would be amazing because, again, some of the characters we could get in the future down the line.
And then hopefully that would bring them back to the comics too.
Exactly.
Because they've kind of like disappeared for now, which is not cool. There's lots of pretty awesome characters in there, so
for sure.
It's like especially Static, but
yeah. So fingers crossed. So again, happy RJ is getting some light shine on him. Because again, in Power Rangers, he was one of the saving graces of that movie.
Yeah, he was great as Billy. And also, speaking of being a saving grace, I don't know if you guys have seen this show on Showtime, and it's called I'm Dying Up Here, and it's a show about comedians and how they're dying up here, and it's not funny, even though it's about comedians, but he is really funny, and he's really, like, his character is really cute in it, and basically he's the best part about that show, too. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think this kid, honestly, is one of those, it's kind of like a Michael B. Jordan situation right now with RJ. It's like we're seeing the beginnings of a career.
I hope so.
Exactly. Yeah. Like 10 years from now, he'll show up like in Black Panther 5. It's like, oh, it's RJ! And he's so buff! Oh my gosh, get RJ! He's Killmonger's other son!
He's Killmonger's other son?
Killmonger got kids. Killmonger got kids. Like, you ain't that buff, you ain't got illegitimate children out there. True. Like, I'm sorry, no.
Oh, man.
Oh, and we got another super chat.
Why green light babies and not bang babies for Static?
Oh, what is he talking about right there? Because I know in the
Big
comic,
Bang. In the comic, it's the Big Bang.
It's the Big Bang,
Milestone
exactly. But
Comics
what's the
universe.
light babies?
Okay, green light babies is what the situation is in Black Lightning.
Oh,
so green light is this drug that was distributed around Freeland. And I think that's one of the reasons pointing to why Static is not actually going to be in this universe.
Yeah,
because the Big Bang is a different thing.
Exactly.
They're going to deal with that when we finally get to a Static show.
There it is. Not only that, but Static takes place in a different city, takes place in the Dakota-verse.
Yeah.
And so, which Dakota actually is like a pretty cool, legit, like urban setting and everything.
Yeah.
Whereas Black Lightning, as much as they seem like it's like a city, it's more like a small town kind of feel a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, especially now that they've revealed there's this whole other place that's called, I just saw Josh say, "I'm dying of here." Is that about Daniel Jerome? Okay, I'm sorry. Goodbye. Anyway,
how does a homeless man get internet access? Someone tell me that.
That's what
is he just hanging out in McDonald's right now?
Else.
Exactly. He's just mooching off in different ways now. Maybe in a car, stealing Wi-Fi. Dang homeless.
What was I talking about?
What were we talking about? We were talking about the Light Baby. Oh, we were talking about the Dakota-verse, and we talked about Black Lightning.
Yes.
And this house is a small town feel.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So they just revealed that there's this other side of Freeland where like segregation has been there since the end of the Civil War, and like this white lady is like controlling all the black people. And I was like, how do they not know? This is definitely Hicksville. How did people not know about this or stop this? Anyway. That's that on Black Lightning.
There it is. So if you want to see some modern racism, tune in. Black Lightning. All right. So then moving on, we also have some other news right now. So we got some set photos from Captain Marvel. We got her in the red and blue costume.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Also, there were some reshoots that looking good. But yes, I love this costume. What do you think about this?
Again, it's playing the straight homage to the comics. What I love about Marvel is Marvel, since they've started doing this, they've never been scared to like embrace like the costumes that are in the comics. And so I'm loving this.
Yeah.
They're paying great homage to it. She looks awesome.
Yeah, I love the little mohawk going on.
Dude, she looks so sick and everything like that. And she looks so strong and powerful. And so I'm loving it. Like, it looks amazing. I'm excited for the movie.
So this is like an evolution. Like she's going to start off with that one and then go to this one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're going to get to see at different moments and whatnot, so it'll be sick.
Yeah.
The only thing I got to say, though, is, and you give me your feedback, is that I'm really excited for this, but I'm kind of tired of leaked photos at this point.
Right. At this point, I just want to see the movie.
Exactly. Like I want the trailer. I want this to be here now. Like, it feels like we've been waiting so long.
Yeah.
In a way, we kind of have, because we've talked about this before. We've been waiting so long for a female-led, like, Marvel movie.
For sure.
And so, again, at this point, it's like, please just put the movie
out.
out.
And I don't want to, I don't want it to, like, spoil the ending or spoil, like, for us to piece together too much of it. Like, even with Infinity War, I feel like, even though stuff was like from like the first 15 minutes or whatever, like they put out so much that it was kind of like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. So then it happened, I was like, yes, I knew that. Thank you for confirming my feelings.
So let's talk about this though, because you brought up a great point. Reshoots.
Yeah.
So again, they went back for reshoots. Now reshoots isn't always a bad thing.
Right.
A lot of them, like Hollywood studios and whatnot, they go back from reshoots from time to time. But how are you feeling about this? The fact they're going back for it?
I hope it isn't like too long, because like the longer they do reshoots, the worse I think it's gonna be, right? Or the more I'm concerned about it. So I don't know what I'm hoping it's just like touch ups on like CGI stuff. I know that Gemma Chan was back for the reshoots for her character, her Kree character. So maybe they're going to add more of her. That would be fine by me.
Be cool.
But what do you think about it?
I'm hoping it's just one of those like natural things where it's like, you know what, the CGI didn't look good, or like the scene didn't play off too well, and maybe they were keeping some things secret for Avengers because they didn't want everyone to know. They're just like,
and so now they can go back and
come
do
back
more
and
of
let's
it.
maybe things suck a little bit. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think
stuff
there's
like that.
plenty of reasons that it could be something normal, natural, like you said. And also, like, you wouldn't want them to not do reshoots just for fear that it's, that it's not going to look good to the public, right?
Exactly.
So.
But at the same time, though, I can understand why because they might also just be nervous about this film because there's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's like I'm kind of to our Drake situation. Like, Drake dropped like a couple singles as an independent artist, but then when his album was coming out, there was a lot of pressure for him to put out a good album. And so kind of like with Marvel, it's like they've dropped all these amazing movies, but not a single female-driven one.
Right.
And then they didn't drop a single black-led one, but then they dropped Black Panther. Boom. Changed the world.
That is a very interesting comparison. Yeah,
so
I like that.
So right now, it's like with Wonder Woman, with Captain Marvel, it's like, well, following in the steps of Wonder Woman, you have a lot to live up to. And people have been looking at you to do this for a while, so you can't screw it up.
People really liked Wonder Woman, so now they want to see what Marvel's answer to that is. And in every respect, except for now the TV verse, so far, Marvel has won up to DC, so I guess they have some pressure there.
We might have to do a debate about this one, because here's the thing. I love what they're doing with the Arrowverse and everything, but I have to say, if it came down to it, and we went like show for show, I don't know. I think the Marvel shows might win.
I mean, that's like you're talking like quantity there, right? Like quantity versus quality. Like you're saying the quality of the Marvel.
Yeah,
shows
exactly.
Might win, but obviously longevity and quantity DC is winning. But yes, we could have an actual debate about which shows are better than
exactly.
which.
Because I mean, if you start going Luke Cage versus I don't know Legends, like Luke Cage.
Oh,
we're gonna do this at some point.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do this at some point.
We're gonna have to have this conversation.
Anyway.
All right, so then, so moving on, it is time for
Johnny.
My pull list.
I'm not gonna say it.
Theme song, please.
Johnny's pull list.
Yay.
Tell us, what should we read?
What should you be reading? Well, I feel bad for you because this kind of relates to you. Heroes in Crisis number 3.
Don't listen.
So, Heroes in Crisis number 3 is actually really good. It's continuing the whole story. We talked about it where superheroes are going to like this safe space to get like therapy in a way because honestly they all suffer from, as you know, PTSD.
Right.
Now to give a little background for people that don't know, Tom King actually served in the U.S. military. He was also part of the CIA.
Oh.
He did a couple tours, and so one of the things is that whenever he like talks about interviews, he thanks his wife and he talks about his service. And so in doing this, it's really one of the most authentic like stories of PTSD you've ever seen because you can kind of tell that in a way some of these characters are his friends.
Right.
These are soldiers he's seen and the things they've seen deal with and whatnot.
Personal.
Exactly. And so in this issue, he really goes more into like the PTSD that Lagoon Boy and that Wally West are suffering from. Now, to talk about it a little bit, so the way that it sets up is it's kind of weird. They go to this house and the house pretty much has a danger room where they can go in there and the AI, which is Kryptonian and Batman program, will create whatever scenario they want.
Oh.
And so it's kind of a way for them to work through their issues.
Oh, it's kind of like how the X-Men have their whatever it's called.
The danger room.
Possibly also the danger room,
exactly,
yes.
Yeah. And so, but what's interesting though is here. So here's the thing. Right now, I'm going to get into spoilers. So you may want to like mute this for a quick sec. And so, spoilers. When Wally goes into like his scenario and whatnot, it's actually one of the best Wally West stories I've seen in years because we've talked about this. When Wally West came back to New 52, he lost all the stuff from that previous universe, so he doesn't have his family in the park anymore. Yeah. And so, literally, when he does his like hologram situation, it's him hanging out with his wife and kids.
Right. Oh.
And it's so heart-wrenching.
That's so sad.
And literally, like, the last...
But this is like a flashback, right? Because he's...
No, because when it's the hologram... Oh, yes. It's a flashback because he's dead. Right. And so the thing about this, though, so one of the last shots is him, like, tucking his kids in. And that's the reason why he's there, because he misses his family. And so, honestly... It's one of the best like written comics I've read in a while because it touches upon Wally because it makes logical sense. Like people are like, "Oh, he'd be happy. He's running around with Barry again." It's like, dude, he just lost his wife and his children. Yeah, he's again, and with Linda Park, as you know, reading the Mark Waid comics,
and like just like the rest of the universe doesn't remember him. You know, it took forever for Iris to remember him.
Exactly. So it's a sad state of affairs, but again, it's really touching. So I like this issue a lot. Booster Gold also has an interesting moment too because like when he goes into his, the thing that what he programs is himself.
Oh.
And he's angry with himself and fights himself and whatnot, which is like, okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, and then again...
sorry. I was just going to say, like, Tom King, like, people have issues with some of his plot lines or whatever, but I think he does a really good job at, like, deep diving into characters.
He does. Like, we talked about before, like, the vision he did for Marvel, so when he breaks down a character, he really gets into the psychological of it, and it's really cool. So, again, I highly recommend issue number 3. I don't want to spoil the ending for you, but go check it out, because last time we talked about it, I talked to you about how apparently Booster Gold is the one who killed the heroes. Actually not. There's a little mystery right here, and there's a twist. A little M. Night Shyamalan twist. And so,
like a Sixth Sense style twist.
Exactly.
Not later terrible movies.
Exactly. True. True. And so when you get to the end of this, like, again, you're going to see, like, a twist come in. My second comic that I chose this week is called Man-Eaters.
Oh, that's right. You were telling me about this.
Man-Eaters is so crazy. And so it features this world where, like, apparently people can turn into werecats. And when they turn into werecats, they start killing other people. It's like some disease is, like, broken out in the population. But, again, the disease only affects teenage girls who are about to go through like menstruation, who are about to like hit puberty and everything like that. It is so allegorical. And so pretty much what the government does is they control all these werecats is they establish a secret government agency whose job is like to hunt them down and kill them, but they also poison the water supply. Well, not poison, but they cleanse it. And so now women no longer get their menstrual cycles.
So how do they have babies?
Again, these are all questions that are coming up. And so issue 1 kind of sets up and gives you the whole universe, but there's a couple of twists in play. One of the main characters is a cop, and is his daughter, and his story's about the daughter and everything like that.
Oh, like she might become a werecat?
Exactly.
Okay.
And so the thing about this is that even though they're personally poisoning the water or like using to cleanse it, some girls it doesn't affect. And so if they get their menstrual cycle, it's a sign that they become a werecat. And the thing about this is when they change it to a cat, they kill everything. They kill their families, brothers, sisters, and everything like that. But again, the whole thing feels like a strong allegory for like government controlling like women's bodies in a way. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is on a deeper level, obviously coming out through Image.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
I think that sounds really interesting. And also, there's many ways you could go with that allegory. Like, depends on what you're trying to say. But in terms of like women's bodies being controlled or being seen as dangerous, like, yes, like that's a really great metaphor. Of course, it's kind of like goes like with the X-Men situation, right? Where it's like, well, they really are dangerous, though. So, if the werecat is killing everybody, how do you stop that problem?
Low key, though. And so, honestly, like, here's the thing. When I chose these comics, I just chose them randomly this week. Heroes came out, and Christ, I wanted to read that one. And I chose this one because, like, Man-Eaters, cover looks cool. Let me check it out. And so, again, I highly recommend both of them. You both are available in your comic shops this week. Man-Eaters is actually on issue 3 right now, so you can definitely go back and find issue 1. Just go to your comic shop and request it. But can I go off the beaten path real quick?
Yeah, please do.
I get one. I don't want to use it for this. Can I just say fuck Bill Maher? Just fuck Bill Maher.
Oh my God, yes.
The okay, I only get one, so I'm going to calm down for Jasmine. So here's the thing.
I won't take any. And Joe isn't here.
I get Joe's too. Yes, yeah, okay, here we go. Because that son of a bastard. So here's the thing. He's going off talking about how comics is this childish medium. And yeah, right now this week we have 2 amazing comics. One covering PTSD disorder that's going to help people be enlightened about what the military goes through and people who serve our country go through. And another one talks about, again, like an allegory for like controlling women's bodies, going to like all these different facets. Yet this is a children's medium. Yeah. And again, such an effing trope. Go.
Yeah, no, I mean, just to think that, like, even if it was a children's medium, like, oh, these are stories for children or whatever, like, children's stories are what shape their lives and shape their mentalities. Like, that's what makes children into adults, right? The media that we consumed when we were younger influences how we feel when we were older.
Exactly.
So, like, to belittle something that is meant for children, that is meant to, like, educate children, or that's meant to open up, broaden their horizons, just seems like a dumbass move.
Exactly.
I totally agree.
And none of that, though, you ignorant bastard, could go off your point. Do you make fun of Sesame Street?
Right.
Do you think about how many people have learned to read their ABCs, their 1, 2, 3s from Sesame Street growing up and whatnot? The thing about this is that comics is a medium that, again, helps enlighten and teaches people. But not only that, though, guess what? America's one of the few countries where it's not seen as a serious art form. You go to Japan, France, all these other places, people there respected adults read comics without shame. But it's because of people like you that people, again, used to get bullied for it, get judged for it and whatnot, and you're bringing all these ignorant traditions.
And that's why our literacy rates are lower and our education systems are worse.
No, think about it. When you were a kid in elementary school, you start off with what? Kids' books. You have picture books. But then all of a sudden, when you get to middle school, all of a sudden they give you chapter books.
Right.
If you instead had graphic novels as a transition, imagine how our literacy rates would be. And then guess what? Kids can find more comics they'd be interested in. They'll carry them on.
Right.
So again, my apologies for going off a tangent. Thank you for supporting me. But yeah,
I'll
fuck
always
Bill
support
Maher.
you.
Thank you. Team.
But yeah, no, he just likes to cause controversy, right? That's all he wants to do.
So if you're also interested in helping us out, because here's the thing though, because again, we all know, thank you for tuning in, we know that comics is an amazing medium, and so if you want to help us out here at that hashtag show, guess what? We're looking for comics writers.
Yeah.
And so we could use your help. So here's the thing, if you go to that
that
if you
hashtag show.
Exactly. Go to email ths@thathashtagshow.com and you can be a potential comic writer. Send in a sample, talk to us, and we'd love to get you on.
Yeah, and then you can be as awesome as Johnny, but in writing.
Oh, thank you. It could be awesome as Tati, but also in writing. Who knows, maybe on a podcast.
Yes, that's true. There are many podcasts to choose from. But yeah, and also you can continue any of these discussions on that hashtag show Facebook. So
exactly. So here's the thing. So now we got something cool for you. So a while back, I got to go to Comic-Con Palm Springs, and I got to interview Jimmy Palmiotti.
Ooh.
People may not know Jimmy Palmiotti was responsible for the Marvel's Night storyline. He worked together with Joe Quesada, bringing all these like new generations of characters and whatnot. But he also worked with his now current wife on a series called The Pro. And The Pro was this amazing comic series. It was a one-shot for Mammoths. They kind of like changed like the landscape of comics. It was a real hot pick for a while.
Didn't he also, with his wife, work on Harley Quinn when it was good?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And actually,
the good issues of Harley Quinn are also him.
That's him. Yep. And there's actually some current stuff they're working on too.
Yeah.
So if we can, we're going to go to that interview right now. As a professional, you also worked on a book called The Pro.
Yes.
Which was kind of amazing.
Superhero prostitute. It was more of Garth and Amanda and me sort of coordinating it, inking it, making sure it came together, getting it to a publisher. I did all the dirty work, and those two were the celebrities on the book.
Oh, but no, so you were still part of it, though. That was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
It's a hilarious series.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. The Pro. So after the book ends, where do you see that character, like, now?
Well, she's dead. So she died at the end of the book. Where I see it now, I see it at Paramount Films.
Right.
And see what lucky or horrible lucked actress would take on that role. It'd be the best thing for them or the worst thing. But I see it having another life. I mean, if we can introduce If the film introduces people to the book again, then we're happy about that. No matter what they do with the movie, the book is always the book, so that's not going to change.
That's true, of course.
So I don't really worry. It's sort of like the two of us take our pads and we draw a waterfall. Well, here's the thing. The waterfall is going to stay a waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
Our drawings are going to be our versions of what we see, so nothing, that doesn't change. So it's another person's vision of what exists already.
Okay.
So I don't worry about the films.
Oh, well, so that kind of roots my next question.
Go ahead.
Because I was kind of interested in your opinion on this, though. Because, I mean, the films are coming out. But
Right.
if you got a chance to cast the pro, who would you want to play the character?
I would think she's at the point in her career where she'd be perfect with this, and I would think it would be Cameron Diaz. Would be great.
Really?
Because she's a little older. She definitely can get filthy on film. She can definitely do stuff.
That's true.
And so for her to play a prostitute superhero would be hysterical, I think. Because it would be a stretch, and then it wouldn't be a stretch on some weird level.
I mean, if you think about Something About Mary,
Yeah,
and that whole
exactly.
scene with the jail and everything like that, it's kind of like, well,
Or Bad Teachers or
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
like that. She is a little fearless with getting a little down and dirty. She'd have to do some nudity because that's what the part things. But at this point, who knows, you know? If she
Yeah.
loves it enough, Cameron, if you do give it a shot. I don't
There
know.
it is.
We have no idea who they're going to get. You know, we liked Ellen Muth at one point, and I still like Ellen for it. But Paramount might be looking for a bigger name. We don't know. As soon as we find out, you guys will probably find out at the same time.
There you go.
You know, films are interesting. I mean, I have they're shooting right now Random Acts of Violence, which is a book I wrote. And that's what Jay Baruchel is doing that. And it's like, it's a little different than my book, but it's still sort of like my book.
Right.
So at the end of the day, if people were interested, they can go find the book. And that's why you can't worry about, if you worry about things out of your control, you become a maniac.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the internet is. It's people worrying about things that it's out of their control and not being able to deal with it. Like they start losing them. I hate this guy. So it's out of their control. They're not doing the casting.
Right.
So they get pissed off and they spend days yelling at people, and it really doesn't do it. It's like that crazy guy next door who yells when you throw a ball in his yard. At the end of the day,
He's like, get off my lawn.
yeah,
It's
that
like,
guy.
yeah.
He's just saying. He's just sad in some way. You know, you feel bad for him.
He's like, oh, poor old man.
Poor old man. Hopefully next time the ball hits him in the gut. You know. But,
What a nice guy.
Oh, Jimmy.
And what a great interview, Johnny.
Thank you. I try. And so, yeah, Jimmy was dope. It was really cool to talk to him. Again, shout out to Jimmy. Go give him a follow on Twitter. And I think it was at Jimmy Palmiotti. He's a great guy. Really nice. And here's the thing. Guess what? That interview is actually, that's one section of it. We went over and talked about a lot of other things. We talked about his time at Marvel. He also talked about creating comics. So we're actually going to bring back Jimmy and some more of this interview to talk about other segments. A lot of you guys have been hitting me up, asking me, because, you know, I'm a comics writer. Asking me, how do you write comics? How do you break in? What do you do? Well, me and Jimmy had an awesome conversation about that.
So we can learn from the masters. I
So
love
tune in
that.
next week and we'll be doing that more. Okay.
Wonderful.
And so now that we've finished with that, now
We got some big exciting news.
we do. Spider-Verse already has a sequel.
I know, it's not even out yet, but everyone that's seen it has loved it. We got it 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. All the critics are raving.
Going crazy for it.
Yeah, and obviously Sony is milking this.
They really are.
Yeah.
They really are.
They are making bank off that Spider-Verse. It was not a bad idea at all to split it with Marvel.
Not only that, though, it wasn't a bad idea to just do an animated movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was really smart. Like, the cool thing about doing this animated movie is that they were able to, like, again, like, by doing animation, you're actually bringing all these different characters.
Right.
It's almost give you, like, a limitless budget because you have to worry about actors and all these different things and studio rights.
Yeah, and you can really, like, page by page bring to life a comic book story like this.
Exactly.
It's, like, lots of fun.
And honestly, this is just another good sign to go see Spider-Verse, in my opinion, the fact that the sequel got greenlit. So a little, like, news bomb and everything like that, the sequel is actually going to be a female-driven Spider-Verse movie.
Oh, there's two actually. There's a sequel, which apparently there's seeds of in this movie. Not that we haven't seen the movie yet, but our people have seen it.
Our people
Yes.
have seen it.
And so there's seeds of the sequel in this movie, and that one is going to be directed by Joaquin Dos Santos, who did Avatar: Last Airbender. Yeah, and he also does Voltron.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's also written by the dude that wrote Zombieland, which I think is that's fun. That's already
that
fun.
could just be so fun and so hilarious, guaranteed.
Yeah. So I'm ready for references galore, etc.
I'm speculating, throwing it out there. So if they're doing another one, and that's going to be direct sequel, that might be Spider-Man.
Right.
So Spider-Man was a storyline where it was just Miles and Peter like hanging out doing stuff.
Right.
And it was like a real learning scenario for them. So that was like more bonding time for them, which I would totally be on board for after this movie.
Yeah, and at the same time, they're also greenlit like some kind of Spider-Women scenario. We don't know, like maybe it's Spider-Girls. I don't know. They don't have a title for it. But it's Lauren Montgomery, who also does Voltron with Fucking Centers, who's been announced to co-direct or to direct that.
That's sick.
And they're gonna gather together like all the female heroes from the Spider-Verse.
The cool thing about that is you actually have a lot to choose from. So of course you'll have Ghost Spider or Spider Gwen there. You could I think it's Arcana or Archaea.
Yes.
She's like, so she could potentially be
Silk.
there. Silk could
is
be
an
there.
option. And of course all the ones that we meet in this movie, I'm sure will be a part of it.
Exactly. The Japanese anime character.
Exactly. I was about to say the anime girl. His name I can't remember, but I think that's gonna be a lot of fun.
New one, exactly. So again, this is great. Like I'm really looking forward to this. I'm actually taking my students on a field trip to go see this.
Oh my god, you are?
Yeah.
That's so cool. Now, did you come up with that, or is that something from the school? Like, man.
Oh no, that's me because I do a video game and comics club and everything like that.
Aww.
Yeah. So it was like because people asked me did I want to go see an early premiere of this, and I was like, I want to, but I want to wait to see it with my kids.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You want to experience that. That's what.
Exactly.
See, another thing that's like for them, but also for you to enjoy. Right.
Of course, and only that, but this is going to be so empowering again for like all these kids who come up with a generation of seeing a black Spider-Man on screen like this. To get to see Miles Morales, who relates again to black and brown kids.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so happy for them. It's awesome.
I do love. Okay, I love that Miles is Afro-Latino, right? Because
exactly,
it's like, because again, that like connects our communities, right? Because it's Afro-Latinos are also like an invisible element, if
exactly.
you will. Like people don't often forget that like it's not like you're black or Latino. You can be both.
You can be both. Exactly. You represent both. You can like chicken and frijoles.
Yeah, exactly.
They come together. Exactly.
A great combination.
Boom.
I love it.
Miles Morales. That's how we roll. So yeah, if you get a chance, again, make sure you go check it out. We got some great articles on thathashtagshow.com exploring that. And you can also go to our YouTube page where actually last week, because we didn't have a show, I gave my top 10 Spider-Man moments list. And I talked about some Spider-Verse moments on there and a little bit of Miles Morales too.
Oh, well, do you want to give us a little sneak peek of that then?
Ooh. So yeah, I'll give you one. So one of my favorite moments is, and this was more on like a serious path, was actually the 9/11 issue of Spider-Man, the black issue. Yeah, so people don't remember this. Right after 9/11, one of the first comics that came out was an issue of Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man. It was made by J. Michael Straczynski, and he did this a fantastic issue where he explored like all the emotions you feel after a tragedy like that. It came from the hero's perspective and villains like Kingpin and Dr. Doom were there. Captain America was there. He kind of touched upon everybody and paid a lot of homage to the firefighters and police department of New York. It was a beautiful issue that still stands the test of time.
That's great. I mean, and that's another way that the medium can be really important too. You know, that reminds me of, I think that DC did like a Love is Love issue that was like in honor of the Pulse massacre, you know, or like in memoriam of, if you will. That also was like a really sweet, like just like vignettes of different LGBT love stories or just coming out stories.
And that's again going back to it again, the ignorance of like again people like downplaying this medium and not actually looking into it, understanding how beautiful it actually is. Because you can tell that was an outsider looking in who just was like looking at things who don't understand. If you take the time to actually read Watchmen, again the Pulse like issue, that 9/11 Spider-Man, like all these other great things, you would come to realize that comics are just much more than children's stories. They're like stories of like our lives, or like of humanity, and they kind of help tell that. Okay, so wrapping up. So Tati, where can everybody find you on other hashtag shows?
Other hashtag shows. You can find me on Gingerdale every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific.
Nice. How's that going so far?
I think it's going really well. Riverdale is a crazy ride. It doesn't make any damn sense, but we try to make it make sense.
Nice.
Okay, and that's what we're there. Kelly and I try to do it. So please watch us and let us know what you think of Riverdale.
For sure. And I'll be watching it. And you can find me on a little show called Hin Shin Hang Out. I'll be here this Saturday with my boys Jezer and Justin. We'll be talking about all great things Hin Shin, as well as some other stuff nerdy and everything like that. So if you get a chance, come check us out. And remember, you can always go to THS Hashtaggers, our Facebook group, because guess what? After the show ends, that's where we keep the conversation going. So be sure to go like some of our posts there. We post our articles, different things, polls and whatnot. So go there, interact, because again, it's a place to keep the conversation going after the show ends.
And of course, you can always leave comments on that hashtagshow.com.
For sure. So again, everybody, thanks for tuning in, watching us tonight. Thanks about talking about everything nerdy. Remember to keep coming back to that hashtag show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to keep up to date with everything trending and
Geek Pop Culture.
We out.